Welcome to podcast 3 of Surviving Toddlers and Twos during COVID-19. During this season of COVID-19, I shared with you in the other 2 podcasts, my husband and I are reliving old times. We have 3 children, ages 26, 24, and 21, and we lived the toddlers and twos 3 times in our home. But now we have an adorable little chunky nonstop 2-year-old grandson that we've had the opportunity to spend more time with during this COVID season. So I've been reminded much of what I've learned as an early childhood educator and realized that many parents, grandparents, and caregivers like you need this information while we are all safe at home. So remember, I don't have all the answers, but I want to share with you what I've learned and experienced, and I just hope it'll help you and your little one experience a happier and more peaceful COVID-19. Now, there are some basic things we all need to know about a toddler and a 2-year-old. And it starts with their emotional and social development. Once you discover these basic foundational truths, you're going to see your little cutie in a whole new light. Because at this age, a child's basic need is competence and control. That means they want to be able to do something successfully and efficiently and on their own. Have you ever watched your toddler put on his shoes? So he'll try to put that shoe on upside down, backwards, on the wrong foot. He'll wrestle with that shoe until finally he's just tired of trying. But that doesn't mean he will not be back at it again. You'll find him later on pushing and pulling and trying desperately to shove his little fat foot in the wrong shoe, and it's facing the wrong way. And why? Because he wants to be able to do it. He wants to competently, on his own, without any help, put that shoe on his foot. Well, a toddler and a 2-year-old, its second greatest need is control. Imagine that. I'm sure you experience that every day. They want to control every part of their world, and in their little mind, they don't need you or any other adult helping them. They are competent and in control. Here in our house, every time I load the dishwasher, Brody gets an invitation to come on over and help me. He's putting dishes in the wrong way. Silverware's like in the bottom of the dishwasher. He's trying to cram bowls in the silverware basket. It's hilarious to watch. And don't you even think about trying to help him because he's got this. Well, what do you do in a situation like this? Let them go for it. They are problem solving. They're working through cause and effect. They're overcoming frustration and they're feeling satisfaction. And what Brody doesn't realize when he is doing all this is he's steady like trying to get a bowl in the silverware basket that I've taken the upside down bowl that he didn't notice and the plate from the bottom of the dishwasher, and I'm slowly putting things in the right place even when he doesn't notice because he's so fixated on what he needs to be in control of. Now, I know this takes me longer to load the dishwasher. It does. But you have to accept the fact that everything takes longer with a 2-year-old or a toddler. It just does. In a stress test that I often give at conferences, one of the questions is, do you designate enough time for events and projects in your life? Do you realize it's going to take you 20 minutes to load the dishwasher with a toddler instead of 10? It's okay. You just embrace the fact that when it comes to 2-year-olds and toddlers, everything takes longer. Now, quickly, let me share one of my favorite parts about Brody helping load the dishwasher. It's when all the dishes are in, we clap and we say, yay, because anytime your child does something, they love to clap, they love to celebrate. And then his chubby little legs run into the pantry. He knows exactly where the dishwasher soap is, and he'll bring it to me. And I open the safety top. He pours it into the hole. Does he make it in the hole every time? No. Do we kind of help him along? Yes. Then he twists the little cap to lock the soap into place, and then he slams the door shut. And then he'll run those chubby little legs back into the pantry, put the soap on the shelf, and then he returns for his final favorite step, which is what? turning that knob, click, 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 and flipping the little switch to heat dry. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Steph, you're a grandma and you love stuff like that. And I do. I eat it up. But listen, you're the mom. You're the dad. You're the caregiver. And I know you might be thinking, ain't nobody got time for this, all right? This cutesy, fruitsy, load in the dishwasher stuff. Yes, you do. It's COVID-19. Where are you going? You're not going anywhere. So this is the time. Slow down. Breathe and enjoy these little moments with your toddler. COVID-19 is the perfect time to realize that these small little interactions really will build the foundation for your toddler's life. So I say all that to say, let your toddler be in control as often as possible. Let him or her own his or her own world. Let him explore and discover. Now, of course, all this is within the boundaries of safety, but as much as possible, let your little one just exude competence and control. This will help with their independence later. And I know that's hard at times now, but when you're ready to fly the coop, or not you fly the coop, but when they're ready to fly the coop, you want them to have this independence. So, because I know they're your toddlers, their basic needs, competence and control, you're going to encounter some things from your little one that you won't like. Okay, are you ready for these? And they are your child's favorite words. Do you know what a toddler and 2-year-old's favorite words are? The first one's a 2-letter word, starts with N. I'm sure you've already said it, no. And the second one is mine. Yes, your sweet little baby that you brought home from the hospital that you just couldn't stop looking at and wanted to hold 24/7 is changing. And that little lump of love is about to be a fearless ball of negativity. Yes, a toddler has no problem looking the biggest, toughest adult square in the face and just saying no. And not just like saying it at times, but yelling no in an adult's face. And not just yelling it, sometimes they're going to add some hand motions. They're going to shake their fingers at you or even take it to a whole new level and push you when they're frustrated. And you're going to be thinking, what happened to my little lump of love? I remember when our daughter Nicole was 2 years old, she looked at my father-in-law, shook her finger at him, and she was our most compliant child out of all of them. But she looked him square in the face, shook her finger, and said, "You no tell me no, I tell you no." Because that's how toddlers operate, and those are their favorite words. So when you think about this little lump of love, just remember that she's craving control. She's discovering this competence, and it's okay. I know some of you who are listening are control freaks and you just demand discipline. And what I just said probably rocked your world. And so why is it okay for your child to want control? This is so important. Please listen carefully. Because your goal is for your child to learn self-control. Today, experts call it self-regulation. So your goal is for your child to be able to control his or her self, their own body, their own feelings, emotions in all kinds of situations. So the beginning stages of self-control is learning control. So think positively and know that the outcome in the end is going to be good. Now, another reason a toddler uses the word no very often is because guess what? That's the word they hear the most. They repeat the words they hear the most. So if you are constantly saying no, 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 guess who else is going to say no? Yes, your little precious. So what do you do when your toddler tells you no? I know your gut reaction says you just point your bony finger in their face and you tell them, I'm the one in control here. You do what I say and you don't tell me no. I tell you no. But that's literally going to get you nowhere. Well, actually, it'll get you somewhere. It'll get you in the middle of a power struggle with a 2-year-old that'll end up in tears. It'll end up in tantrums and probably give you some high blood pressure. So when your 2-year-old says no, first pause, take a deep breath, assess the situation, think, why are they telling you no? And if the reason is because they don't want you to take their block, okay, it's not a big deal. Let them have the block. Gently say something like, you want the block? Say, block please. Mommy will share the block. Notice my short phrases, but I'm giving them the words to say to express their feelings. Don't just grab the block from them and force them to sit down and listen to you say this, like, give me that block, sit down. You want the block? Say block, please. Mommy will share the block. Okay? That's not going to help you at all. Just remember, children hear what you say when they're playing. So when you're talking to them and you're helping guide their self-control, they're listening. So don't underestimate the power of a toddler or 2-year-old. After you make the statement, for example, you want the block, say, block please, mommy will share the block. Then drop it and keep moving. Because the greatest thing you'll learn in parenting is to choose your battles, especially when they're young. So choose your battles wisely, know when to address those no's and when to let them go. Now, secondly, don't take it personally when your child tells you no. For the most part, it's not about you. So don't get defensive or angry because they're threatening your authority. They're literally just simply trying to gain the competence and control and then repeating what they heard you say 2 minutes ago. No. So when you hear the word no, think to yourself, is this a teaching moment? And if it's a moment to teach your child, take it. Take the moment to teach them self-control or sharing or, situations like that. But if it's not a teaching moment, let it go. And what do I mean by a teaching moment? Let's say you say, Brody, it's time to clean up the toys. He says, no. So you begin to sing to the tune, let's say the farmer in the dell. It's time to clean up toys. It's time to clean up toys. Look at Brody helping. It's time to clean up toys. It's time to clean up toys. It's time to clean up toys. Look at Brody helping. It's time to clean up toys. Remember, anytime you want your child to do something, sing it. Children will stop what they're doing, turn around and look at you, and do what you say when you're singing it. The moment you sing to, your toddler is probably going to start stomping and dancing because toddlers move to music. They love music. So you say, Brody, let's help, and hand him a Lego. Can you put the Lego in the tub? Brody can put the Lego in the tub. Brody is helping. Yay, Brody! Look at Brody helping. It's time to clean up toys. Then you hand him a ball. Can you put the ball in the basket? Yay! Brody put the ball in the basket, and you celebrate each time he's cleaning up. Is this going to take time? Yes, it is, but you've got COVID time. So make the most of these teaching moments, because in this time you're teaching Brody how to clean up instead of saying, Brody, I told you to clean up the toys right now. And then World War III breaks out between you and Brody. So one thing to learn that's hard is this takes time and patience. And you may be thinking, Steph, I do not have the patience for this. Remember, this season of your child's life is short-lived. You can do it. Your job as a parent or a caregiver is to teach your child. Every moment is a teaching moment. So determine in your mind that you're going to commit to this awesome task of wholeheartedly, no matter what it takes, teaching your child even in the small moments. Now, your toddler's second favorite word is mine. You heard it, mine. And I love doing this little exercise. Imagine walking into the grocery store, because that's pretty much the only place we can go right now. You enter the door, and in your mind, you literally believe everything in the store is yours. The steaks are yours. Every bag of chips is yours. Every flavor of ice cream is all yours. Literally every single thing in the store belongs to you. So if you saw a lady with a frozen pizza that you liked and you wanted it, guess what? It's yours. So what would you do if it was yours? You would take it from her. So if you truly believed that everything was yours, you would just go and start taking anything and everything off the shelves, and then you just walk right out the door with it, wouldn't you? So what would the store manager do? Probably chase you down, ask you what you're doing. And then if you thought in your mind that all of this stuff is yours, how would you respond to the store manager when he said, "What are you doing?" "I'm taking my stuff home." "No, it belongs to the store." "No, mine." Well, what if the store manager tried to take your stuff out of your hands? What are you going to do? Are you going to pull it away? Are you going to run? This is your stuff. It would be like him grabbing your wallet or your purse out of your hands. Would you hit him? Remember, in your mind, all of it is yours. This is how your toddler thinks. There's a poem that was written years ago, and I really don't know who the author was, but whoever he or she was a genius. It's called The Toddler Property Laws. You might have heard it before, but it says, if I like it, it's mine. If it's in my hand, it's mine. If I can take it from you, it's mine. If I had it a little while ago, it's mine. If it's mine, it must never appear to be yours in any way. And if I'm doing or building something, all the pieces are mine. If it looks just like mine, it's mine. And if I saw it first, it's mine. If you're playing with something else and you put it down, it automatically becomes mine. If it's broken, it's yours, but all the pieces are still mine. I love that. This is truly how a toddler thinks. And to make matters even more fun in our parenting and leading these 2-year-olds and toddlers, this age child cannot share. Do you hear those words? Cannot share. They are emotionally and socially incapable, and they're not ready to share at all. That's why when you see a room full of toddlers, you should just watch them. It's hilarious. Each child is going 90 miles an hour doing their own thing. They don't have a clue what anyone else around them is doing unless like another child enters their little world of play. And when that happens, they might look at each other and acknowledge maybe that they saw each other, and then they just go back to their own little world. In the education world, this is called parallel play, because they're parallel, side by side, playing, doing their own thing. It's amazing. Toddlers and 2-year-olds, they just don't play with each other. They play beside other children. And it's because they're developing this competency. They're trying to establish control, and they can't share. So how do you handle this with a toddler? Well, first of all, remember, choose your battles. Take a deep breath, assess the situation. For example, if you have 2 children in the room, give them a moment to try and work it out. See what happens. Kind of think to yourself, they're not intentionally disobeying me or trying to cause a fight with their sibling. They're just taking what's in their hands that's rightfully theirs from somebody else, okay? Now, if you have more than 1 toddler or 2 in a room, this is really important. You should have 2 of most items. I know this is harder at home, but for example, let's say you have 1 toddler-sized grocery cart, and we learned that toddlers love to push, pull, fill, dump. Well, what's going to happen if you have 3 toddlers or 3 2-year-olds in the room? You're going to have a huge problem because they all think that 1 grocery cart is theirs and they can't share. So when you're trying to help toddlers share and work together in the same room, or just with older siblings, redirection is key for toddlers. You need to say that word over and over to yourself. Redirection, redirection, redirection. So when you see a sharing moment about to occur, Redirect your child to another activity. For example, let's say Brody wants another child's car, but in his mind, it's his car. So in his mind, he has every right to just grab it. So when you see Brody about to grab the toy, for example, you could say, Brody, can you catch the ball and roll the ball to him? 99% of the time, a toddler or 2-year-old will stop, turn and look at the ball and catch it. Especially if you say, yay, good job. And you're singing, if you're happy and you know it, catch the ball. If you're happy and you know it, catch the ball. Well, chances are that your child is going to start stomping and clapping, and you've avoided the sharing moment altogether. So learning to redirect is really huge. And lastly, there's going to be times when your 2-year-old or your toddler grabs something from someone else. And this is normal. You already know that, and you know why. So what do? This is key. You get up. Get up. You walk over to your child, you get down on their eye level. This is so important. And have another of the same toy in your hand or a different toy, and calmly say, because it's real important to be clear and calm. For example, this happens at our house. Brody, the remote control is Pops. Let's give the remote to Pops, and you can play with the whatever tune is that whatever toy it is that you have in your hand. And then you can maybe begin to sing to maybe the tune, here we go round the mulberry bush. We can give Pops the remote, Pops the remote, Pops the remote. We can give Pops the remote, yay, Brody. And you're singing to him, and guess what happens? You've redirected. You're helping him give the toy to Pops. You're cheering for Brody, yay, Brody. And then you hand him the other toy. Okay. You may have to gently remove the toy from a toddler's hands at a time and say thank you. And guess what's going to happen? She's going to lay on the floor, cry, and scream. What do? Do you say, get up off that floor and quit crying and screaming? You shouldn't have taken that anyway. That's what you're going to feel like doing. But instead, just walk away from the child saying, thank you for giving the remote to Pops. You shared. Sharing is hard sometimes. It makes us feel sad. But you don't need to make eye contact while you're talking or acknowledge the behavior. And then you can begin doing something else with another toy, and he or she will probably jump up and be redirected immediately. And so we've learned a lot of information today, but it's so huge. So I want us to review quickly, and I really want you to think about your little toddler and your 2-year-old and know that they are not out to get you, but this is just their stage of life. So remember, a toddler and a 2-year-old's basic need is competence and control, those 2 C's. And our ultimate goal for this control is self-control, or as experts call it nowadays, self-regulation. Now, a toddler and a 2-year-old's favorite words, what are they? No and mine. And everything your 2-year-old sees, remember, it belongs to them in their mind. Everything is mine. Your toddler, your 2-year-old, is not capable of sharing at this stage in life, so keep that in mind. Toddlers and 2-year-olds, what do? Parallel play. They're not playing with each other yet, but side by side. Remember to use redirection as often as possible, especially singing, and choose your battles. Choose them wisely, and remember, it's not about you. These moments in your little one's life, I know they feel hard and they're stressful, but keep in mind, these are teaching times. And during COVID-19, you have the time to teach and help your child learn how to handle this need for competency and control in positive ways. I believe you can do it. I know you want to do it. So give it your best shot and be the very best you to help your toddler or your 2-year-old become the very best little one that God has created him or her to be.